Hey guys, Dylan here, and today I am ready to do a Sonic Insanity. Today's Sonic Insanity is going to be the insanity stirred up over one little hoodie. Now, what you are seeing here is what it would have looked like if you went to go buy this hoodie a couple days ago. But unfortunately, this hoodie is now gone. As you can see, it's a cute little Tails the Fox with the Japanese rising sun as its main inspiration. It's a cute little thing. It has no, Japanese propaganda spread on it. It's not saying to honor Japan or anything. It's just a cute little kawaii weeaboo design. Now, one of the main things you need to know about this ahead of time is this was made for American audiences, and all the countries it can ship to do not include Korea. This was not intended for Korean audiences, and the main reason why I bring that up is Koreans are the people who are mostly offended by this because they choose to be offended by this stuff. Now, before we start talking about everyone being offended over this, I want to give you some history. This is going to be boring. I'm sorry. Can't help it. Hopefully you learn a little bit of something today. This is needed information to know why things are going like this. So, the Rising Sun flag. Here's a little bit of information on it. The Rising Sun flag was originally used by feudal warlords in Japan during the Edo period in 1603 to 1868. Now, one of the main things that's being used to smear this flag is that it's Nazi related. It's Nazi propaganda. It has to do with the crimes committed in World War II. I don't think you guys need me to tell you this, but 1603 is not anywhere close to World War II. You're a few 300 years off. It makes no fucking sense. This thing predates World War II by a long shot. It's really old. On May 15th, 1870, as a policy of the Meiji government, I hope I didn't say that wrong, I'm sorry if I did, I suck at every language ever, it was adopted as the war flag of the Imperial Japanese Army, and on October 7th, which is very close to my birthday, 1889, it was adopted as the naval ensign of the Imperial Japanese Navy. It is still used in Japan as a symbol of tradition and good fortune. So, the Tails one is probably indicating good fortune because it's just being cute and random. It probably has nothing to do with any imperialism, but whatever. And is incorporated into commercial products and advertisements, which means that it is a commercial thing in Japan now. It's not just a symbol of imperialism, it's actually a sign of good fortune and is used for other stuff. It has been appropriated to not mean the terrible things that people think it means, which it never did mean to begin with. A modified flag is flown by the Japanese Self-Defense Force and the Japan Ground Self-Defense Force. So the Japanese Self-Defense Force still flies this flag. So this flag is still being used in current Japan. You know, current Japan that isn't doing fucked up shit and aren't Nazis. So this flag still has use today by the Japanese military. Very, very weird that people are offended by it. This design has been wildly used in Japan for a long time. Today, the design of the Rising Sun flag is seen in numerous scenes in daily life in Japan, such as fishermen banners hoisted to signify a large catch of fish, flags to celebrate childbirth, and in flags for seasonal festivities. And you can see all those down here. You can see all this ancient artwork, this really old artwork from hundreds of years ago, and it's using that symbol. You can see all these flags for celebrations, and they're using that symbol. And this is the backup, everything that was said there. The flags of the Maritime Self-Defense Force and Ground Self-Defense Force employed the design of the Rising Sun flag in accordance with the Order of Enforcement of Self-Defense Forces law in 1954. Ever since then, these flags were officially designated. They have been hoisted on various occasions, both domestically and internationally. So they've still been happening since 1954, which yet again is after World War II, for people who are saying this is a Nazi symbol. For more than half a century, these flags have been played indisposable role in to show the presence of self-defense forces, vessels, and units. They are widely accepted in the international community. So this has been an international symbol for Japan for a long time. These are events happening in 2019, 2018, 1998, that flag is still being used. The design of the Rising Sun with beams of light is not unique to Japan. Similar designs are widely used in the world. Yeah, the design itself isn't even uncommon. Plenty of other states and nations use this design. And now, one last thing to talk about all this shit, because this is important for the prelude so you know what the fuck is happening and why people are offensive, I'm going to read this post from The Truth, aka The Truth Speaker, who clarifies why people are now offended by this. People shouldn't fall for the anti-Japanese propaganda. The rising sun is not the equivalent to the Nazi swastika. The rising sun flag does not equal a Nazi symbol. It was fabricated by the Koreans to hate on Japan, and they started spreading the lie in 2012. Koreans even started calling the rising sun flag war criminal flag. It's a made-up Korean word. In 2012, look up rising sun flag equals Nazi flag. Then you will notice that 99% of the articles, blogs, tweets, and comments of their false claim are posted after 2011. So this is only a new thing. This is a new thing that has been sprouted up and spread by Koreans to shit on Japanese people. There is nothing wrong with using the rising sun flag and design. Asian countries have no problem with it. The rising sun flag is not considered offensive in Asia. Koreans were using it themselves until they started spreading the anti-Japanese propaganda in 2012. As you can see, here are some popular Koreans actually using the design. Koreans themselves have used the design up until the 2010s. This design is popular around all of Asia and the world. This is not an offensive thing. It's being used to propagandize a country. Koreans were using the rising sun flag design themselves until they started spreading the anti-Japanese propaganda in 2012. And you can see more proof of them using that design. Asians have no problem with the rising sun flag. There is nothing wrong with using the rising sun flag and its design. And this is showing plenty of other Asian countries and cultures using the flag still. It is still a popular symbol, and it is used by plenty of other countries. Still, the rising sun flag and design equals no problem in Asian countries. There is nothing wrong with using the rising sun flag and design. Here are more countries, more Asian countries using this design because it's not offensive. All nations except for South Korea recognize the rising sun flag is not the equivalent to the Nazi swastika. China has no issue with the rising sun flag either because it is a naval ensign of the Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force. She knows no one would disrespect it. So even China, one of the most censoring countries in the world, still respects this design, still respects this flag. Even China has respect for that flag. The Nazi swastika represented the Nazi party. That's why Germany banned it. The Iron Cross was also used to represent the German military, and its cross-shaped design is still used by them to this day. This symbol is comparable to the rising sun flag, which, in case you haven't been following Twitter and YouTube for a long time, people have been trying to say that the cross is a Nazi symbol, which it isn't. They tried to get on to PewDiePie for having an Iron Cross. They tried to get on for quite a few people for having an Iron Cross, and the Iron Cross is not in itself racist. It is a symbol of Germany, and the Germans just so happen to be Nazis at one point in time. The US military respects the rising sun flag very much, even though they fought in Japan in World War II. They fought Japanese people. They killed Japanese people. They beheaded Japanese people. We dropped 2 nukes on them, and we still respect the design. We still respect the culture of Japanese people. This is only offensive to Koreans. The rising sun flag has existed since the 1600s. It has been used as traditional national symbol of Japan since the Edo period in 1603. That's why the Japanese sometimes use the rising sun flag to represent Japan at sporting events, etc. Japanese art in the 1800s. These are artwork from the 1800s, and they're still using the design. The design of the rising sun flag is wildly used throughout Japan, such as good catch flags used by fishermen, people using the flags to celebrate childbirth, and seasonal festivities. People need to understand that the rising sun flag is not a war flag in Japan. It just so happened to be used by warriors. And that's all the backstory you needed. That's all the backstory behind the flag, the culture, the history of the people. That's the only thing you needed to know. Now we can move on to the offensive shit itself. This is from, let me let that title flash by again. TSSZ News. Sega shop removes Tails hoodie with offensive symbol. Offensive symbol. They are outright saying it's offensive. Tristan Oliver is saying that this is an offensive symbol. The rising sun is an offensive symbol. Okay. The US Sega shop has removed for sale a hoodie featuring tails and symbolism reminiscent of Japanese rising sun flag. TSSZ has learned that the removal, which to this point has not been accompanied by an official explanation because it would piss off Japanese people, came after the community members criticized Sega, most of them being Korean members, for use of the derivative artwork. TSSZ has made a decision to show you the design as part of our story header, and again below. The rising sun was an imperialist symbol of Japan, having been both used as a national flag for centuries leading into the 20th century. The Japanese Navy used the flag during World War II as it occupied much of Asia and committed countless atrocities during the war. So because the symbol was used during a bad point in history, that has tainted the symbol for everyone. And despite for decades no one caring, no one being offended, even the country is now saying it's offended, wasn't offended. Now it's offensive because they said so. Those of Korean descent and nationality can be especially offended by the flag's use in everyday life. They weren't a decade ago, and especially consumer apparel. This product wasn't available in Korea. Just saying that. Japan's history with the region goes back further, as this BBC story explains. In 1905, Japan occupied Korea as a protectorate, and 5 years later as full-fledged colony. The Japanese rule was one of economic exploitation, and hundreds upon thousands of Koreans were pressed into forced labor to aid the Japanese expansion in their parts of Asia. The brutal regime also saw thousands of girls and young women forced to work in the military brothels set up for Japanese soldiers before and during the World War II. Aside from Korean victims, the Japanese army also forced girls from Taiwan, China, and the Philippines into the brothels. Yet Taiwan, China, and the Philippines are still cool with this symbol. They are still okay with this symbol despite also being victimized by this army. It is only now the Koreans who are offended, despite being okay with it for literal decades. Many South Koreans associate the rising sun flag with a long list of war crimes and oppression. Only now do they do this, and see Japan's continued use of the symbol as emblematic of Tokyo's failure to address its past. It did address its past. They acknowledged it when we nuked the fuck out of them, and now it's done. It's over with. How long will you continue holding a grudge? Everyone involved is most likely dead. Everyone who is victimized is dead. This symbol existed long before World War II. Why should you let World War II taint this symbol for everyone? Why can't we move on? The flag has become a point of controversy when organizers of now postponed 2020 Summer Olympic Games elected not to ban its use during the competition in objection to South Korea, claiming it's not a political statement. And that's the stance Sega should have had. Sega should have had the stance that it's not a political symbol. But instead, they cave in and they fucking did it, and they help these insane people get their way. Sega has not offered an official explanation, which they should, on any public-facing social media channels, which they should, as to why the article of clothing was removed. It is not clear what has happened to anyone who purchased the hoodie before the sales were suspended. And if you did get that hoodie, please take a photo of it. I want to see it. This is one of the rarest Sonic items in history now. I want to see that it exists, please. And here's where a lot of the trouble started. This is a Korean user, you can tell because their name is in Korean, and they say this: "I can't believe that the official Sega shop did this. I just contacted them to delete the product." And you see that he's spreading the propaganda that it is a Nazi symbol, that it is just as bad as the Nazi flag. That is the propaganda he is spreading. I had already debunked this at the beginning of the video, so hopefully you watched that and didn't skip over it, so you know why I'm not going to re-explain why he's wrong. The pattern on the clothes remind me of the rising sun flag, and that is no different from the Nazi flag in other countries. No. That is a lie. This is not a Nazi-related item. This is not a hate crime-related item. This is a symbol that existed for hundreds upon hundreds of years before Nazis even were a fucking thought. There is no reason to be offended by the rising sun. It is a symbol of good fortune. You have no reason to be offended by it, especially in Korea. Only in Korea. And it is too bad that this product reminds a lot of people of painful history. Well, you should get over it. Get over it. Hope they delete the product. They must delete that. They must delete that. they must. So this man, this random fucking man, is saying they must delete it. This is the product. If you want to help, contact here. And they're saying contact the Sega officials. They're going to harass people. They're going to harass people to get this done. And that's how Twitter works nowadays. My friend Lord Danny ended up getting into an argument with one of these guys. It's this guy, actually. So we're going to read over this, and we're going to read over an interaction that Danny had, because it's really good. The rising sun flag is still used in Japan for good fortune. Japan's current flag is also an adaptation of the flag, which is true. Japan's current national flag is still an adaptation of this flag. Sounds like an excuse to attack another culture, which it is. It is the Koreans attacking the Japanese over something that's happened decades ago. A company as global as Sega should have considered this before selling merch to countries that are not Korean, apparently. And I do not buy the woohoo rising sun flag was used before the war and has other meanings bullshit. Well, you should, because it does, and always has, and every other country recognizes that it doesn't mean what you say it means, because that never justifies their war crimes. They were already punished for their war crimes. I don't think you realize this because you weren't the country that did it. They had 2 nukes dropped on them. They had strict punishments after the war, and it's over with. It has been so many decades since World War II. You weren't alive for World War II. They were already punished for their war crimes, which they committed during World War II, wearing that flag proudly. So because they wore that flag once, it's tainted forever, according to him. Imagine a country having a flag during World War II. Let's ban all the flags then. All the flags are now Nazi symbols because I said so, and that is a good point. Plenty of countries sided with Germany. Should all their flags be revoked too? Should all their symbols be revoked because they sided with Nazis and did terrible things during the war? And this guy responds with, I don't buy that there are plenty of products similar symbols either, because you are implying that there are plenty of Hacken Currents products it's approved. Like, why? Sure, someone already made Nazi goods. Go make it yourself. Everyone would be proud of you. Wow. Well, the difference between it is the Nazi symbol was directly made for the Nazis. It only works with Nazis. It was only their thing. And I know that there was symbols similar to the Nazi swastika, but the swastika is different. The swastika is only associated with Nazis. It's always a hate symbol. This is something that existed long before the Japanese imperialist army of World War II. This is a symbol that has had many different meanings throughout the generations it's been used. You are misrepresenting this, and you're doing the classic fucking SJW thing of saying it's a Nazi. Nazis are bad. Hey guys, remember Nazis? Nazis are bad, right? Don't do Nazi things. That's bad. Cancel Nazi, even though it's not Nazi. And Danny responds with, so should we just all be upset about the past forever? Never move forward? Blame another country for something that happened decades ago? It's a Japanese company using a Japanese symbol, and the product isn't even being sold in Korea. Calm down. And that's true. And it's not even really a Japanese company. It's an American Japanese company selling products mainly in America using a Japanese symbol that literally no one else is offended by. This is a non-controversy if I've ever heard one. And another thing I want to point out is this is yet again another Korean user, yet again another Korean name. So it's weird that people with Korean names are offended by this. Sysconic ends up chiming in saying, a group of special Sonic fans legit think that this is a reference to Nazis and etc. You can't make this shit up. One of the few times I agree with Cisco on something. And then another guy ends up saying, when did Sonic fans suddenly care about some Korean Sonic fans' thoughts of things that was deemed offensive? Where was this outrage before a hoodie making a logo with tails using the Rising Sun flag design? Is this Sonic fans virtue signaling? Yes, it is people virtue signaling. All the people who have no clue what this is about and are just agreeing that it's Nazi related, you're fucking dumb. You're fucking dumb. You're not helping Korea. You're not helping anyone. You're just spreading ignorance, the thing that you claim that you're fighting against. That is the bitter irony in it all. And this user deleted their shit now, but I have an archive of it. This is Aurora, and they said, Dear Sega, would you please be as kind and consider to change the picture on the hoodie and apologize to your dear Korean fans? No. It wasn't for sale in Korea. No one else finds it offensive. You can't pander to every single country, especially when that country has used the symbol for literally decades. Korea has used that symbol for decades, and they were never offended by it till now. Thank you. Also, think twice before doing something like this again. Shut up, Karen. Shut the fuck up, Karen. I don't want to hear that type of fucking back talk. Someone says, what did they do this time? Sega of America sold a Tails hoodie that had a rising sun design. Korean fans got rightfully uncomfortable. Rightfully uncomfortable. Well, then you better tell all the Korean companies that are using the symbol that they should also be rightfully uncomfortable. Fuck you. Over this and asked for the merch to be taken out. They didn't ask, they demanded. But tons of weeb and racist Sonic fans. Oh, there it is. Now the Sonic fandom is being attacked. If you like this product, you are now racist. If you don't find anything offensive about this, you are racist. Now all Sonic fans who defended this, you're racist. Cisco, you're racist. Lord Danny, you're racist according to this person. This is how it starts, guys. This is the start. This is the start of the peak of the Sonic SJW movement. You just watch. It's gonna fucking happen. Started attacking them. It was probably not implemented with malice, but the thing is, you can fucking say attack all you want to, but you attacked Sega to get this shit removed. If us commenting on your shit making fun of you is bad, then you commenting on Sega's shit getting them to remove shit is bad. It's harassment on both sides. No one is clean. This person named JRB says, I'm all for getting that Tails hoodie removed if it means getting cute Korean Sonic fan art back. So because this person knows Koreans and likes Koreans, they're just going to take it down. Doesn't matter for the Japanese people who identify with the symbol and use it to indicate several different things in their culture. Their cultural heritage doesn't matter because a couple Koreans are pissed off. Way to go. Way to oppress the Japanese people. Please complain to Sega about that Tails hoodie, trying to get more people to rally up and take this hoodie down. And thanks to these people doing this, it actually did get taken down. There's more posts like this of people telling them to remove this hoodie, and that's why it's gone now. And then this is one of the funniest ones. Sega put up a Tails hoodie designed after the Rising Sun flag on their website. If you didn't know, the Rising Sun flag is basically the Japanese equivalent to the swastika flags, literally parodying what the ignorant Korean people said at the beginning of this. The Rising Sun is not the equivalent to a swastika. It has been used and accepted for decades. It has been fine for decades. No one cared about this till recently. The late 2010s is when people finally started getting offended by this symbol that only means good shit outside of World War II and are used to discriminate against Koreans. No, it's not even used to discriminate against Koreans. You, Neko Nora, you're retarded. You are an actual retard. Put that as your name because you don't know anything you're fucking talking about. The Koreans weren't the only ones who were enslaved during that time. The fucking Chinese were too, and they still accept that symbol. The Taiwanese were, and they still accept and use that symbol. It's only Koreans who are getting butthurt about this now. And then that stupid fucking idiot says, we did it! And he's very proud that they got it removed. And this guy says, it's sad that Tails hoodie looked cute, but then people made me realize that the flag and what it meant. So this guy has been bought in by the propaganda. This guy has went in to the propaganda and is now thinking that's a hate symbol. These are people being weaponized by Koreans who are spreading propaganda, and they don't even realize it because they're dumb. A good movement to get out the store. So this guy, because he can't read a history book and knows nothing about Japanese fucking heritage, he fucking did that. But this guy doesn't even realize that he just spread propaganda, that he bought into propaganda and spread it. And then this person says, which is Silv, I don't fucking know, I don't fucking care either. I ordered that Tails hoodie without knowing about the Imperial flag, and luckily I can return it for a full refund. So because someone told you it was racist, you just instantly believe them. Way to go. Way to go. I bet you're the person who thinks fucking milk is racist too, and the okay hand emoji. And now we have one last post. This last post is actually really good and sums up what I have to think about a lot of this. While I understand why that flag, Tails hoodie, has caused a commotion among the Korean Sonic fanbase attacking a whole company and demanding an apology over a mistake is going too far. I wouldn't even say it's a mistake. It's a symbol of good fortune, and it was being used for that. And these people who are spreading propaganda have made it a symbol of hate. which isn't even a shock anymore because apparently frogs are hateful too. It was on the American shop, so clearly no Asians were involved, which is true. But there are some points. One, merchandise, and that's often outsourced or collaborated sometimes with fans and not actual representatives of the character. The flag is still part of the Japanese current day culture, which is true, and is not connected to that bad piece of history, which is true. I'm all against censoring the culture and history. And some museums in my country go as far to censor swastikas on historical pieces. So it's and that's true. That's true. Some countries are so obsessed with being politically correct, they're censoring out the bad stuff. You won't even be able to learn about this shit soon, because that's how obsessed these people are with ruining other countries' cultures. You cannot rewrite it, but you can respect it. I agree that the picture was somewhat poor taste and not even fitting. I don't agree with that part, but a lot of this is good. But it's apparent that it wasn't historically oriented and there was nothing to it than just being a picture. Nobody was disrespecting anybody, and it's impossible to know every single historical fact. It was a mistake. I don't agree that it was a mistake. I think that these people are just choosing to be offended, and Sega shouldn't have listened to them. If you hate a country just based on historical facts, in this case Japan, by that definition you hate every single Japanese person and the Sonic franchise, because surprise, Sega is a Japanese and US company, and Sonic was created in Japan. If you are willing to do this, you are racist and hypocritical. I agree with that. By this logic, every single country should be at each other's throat. Just because. If I had $1 for every single time I saw a Russians are bad and stupid vodka, Medvil, Babalakia, among others, I'd be rich. I don't, because a commotion over every single case of that, it'd be crazy. It's just stereotypes. They can't be broken with something as minuscule as that. Sega isn't the first to do this. Nintendo has done it, too. Among many others, I'm sure. It's not something unique. It must be fought systematically, not like this. Sega is a very respectful company and has already taken down the offensive item. The people responsible for the games aren't responsible for the merchandise. It'd be understandable if it was in a game, but merch, it's not their fault. TLDR, it's important to give history lessons, which this person also needs, but don't make a mountain out of a molehill, please. Twitter outrage has never done anything good for anyone. Calm down and take care of yourself. It's not worth it to lose your nerve over this. And that was everything that I cared about involving this hoodie. There's a lot more stupidity on Twitter. If you want to go look for that, go look for it. They're already deleting their shit because they're ashamed of this. I personally think that this symbol isn't racist. It's not offensive. Plenty of countries and states use this as their symbol. Plenty of countries and states recognize this as meaning something outside of World War II. It's been in plenty of games. Street Fighter is a really good example to how many times they've had this symbol in the background somewhere. I think that if we let them call this a hate symbol, Japan will lose a significant part of their history over nothing. Koreans have used this symbol for decades and didn't care up until now. I don't think you should let a couple pissed off Koreans decide if something is hateful or not. This symbol is important to Japan, and they have explained over and over again why it is not racist. If you choose to say it is racist, you are ignorant, and you need to educate yourself on the history of Japan and this symbol. And one last thing I want to point out is, because that hoodie got taken down, I have decided to make my own Edge-related jacket. This is just like the hoodie that was released by Sega, has almost the exact same symbol, but I had my girlfriend Taylor draw a whole new Edge version of it, and instead of Japanese characters, it just says Edge. So if you like the Tails design and you can't get it, the Edge design is here. This hoodie is $25, and I will leave a link in the description when this video is re-uploaded. Hopefully you guys learned something today. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you really like it, share it, and if you want to see more, then subscribe. Hopefully you guys can calm down. Hopefully you guys have learned something about Japanese history, and bye. Before the credits roll, I thought I'd give a shout out to my multiple ways of making money. YouTube is slowly starting to sanitize the platform, making it harder for people to make money on edgier content like I do. So I'm reminding you guys that I have a Patreon. The Patreon has plenty of reward tiers, including seeing my podcast early, being able to join my fan Discord, and possibly even getting on the show if I can fit that into the schedule. I have video recommendation tiers that you can try to get into, and if Patreon isn't your thing, I also sell merchandise. I have both Chris-chan and Edge related stuff, so no matter what you watch me for, there is a shirt or a hoodie that I'm sure you'd like to own. And if all else fails and my YouTube falls apart, I always have a BitChute account, so remember to check out all these different things in the description below.